I'm at the Kezar Library where a lot of activity has been going on lately. Even down at Grosvenor where a local author stopped by to launch her new book. Also this week on Around the Community, a state senator stops by Washington Township for a meet and greet. And Romeo Community Schools gets tough on bullying. Plus, the old girl right here, Kezar, turns 100. We're going to have these and more stories on this week's edition of Around the Community. Local international author Dionne recently held a launch party for her latest novel, Boiling Point, at the Grosvenor Library. This new eco thriller is based on the Chitin volcano that erupted May 2nd, 2008 and left a small South American village destroyed. Karen discusses visiting the volcano and her experiences as an author.
Well, the Grosvenor Library is hosting my book launch party. You know, it's typical when an author releases a new publication to celebrate with family and friends, and they were kind enough to host me here tonight. So my second novel, Boiling Point, released about 3 weeks ago, and here we are. Well, Boiling Point is my second environmental thriller, and it's about an erupting volcano, a missing researcher, and a radical scheme to end global warming. And when I was looking for an idea for a story, I Googled worst environmental problems, and I came upon an article called 10 Wacky Ways to Save the Planet, which focused on geoengineering as possible solutions to global warming. Some of the ideas that were proposed are quite radical, putting iron filings in the ocean, and one involves seeding the atmosphere with sulfur dioxide particles to mimic the cooling effects of a volcanic eruption. And to me, this seemed like an act of hubris, and I thought it would make a great villain to have a scientist who's going to take it upon himself to cure the problem of global warming by doing this. So that's the theme that's at the core of my novel, Boiling Point. I had seen a picture that was being passed around the internet of the initial eruption of Chitin volcano in northern Patagonia, Chile. And the picture was so amazing that I believe National Geographic awarded the photographer Photograph of the Year. It was a huge volcanic plume. It went 12 miles into the stratosphere. There was huge roiling black clouds, lightning going through the plume, red and gold and purple colors reflecting the pyroclastic activity from below. So that's where I decided then to set my book. Because my publisher bought the novel before I had written it, I was able to travel to the location where the novel is set. So I went to Chitin a year after the eruption. The volcano was still erupting, still on red alert. The town at the base of the volcano had been ruined by a lahar, so it was buried several feet deep in most places in mud and ash. But I found an English-speaking guide who arranged lodging for me in the town, and he took me to within 1 mile of the new lava dome, where I saw steam vents and I heard explosive noises and felt a small earthquake. And so that experience really helped in writing the novel, because not only did I see and experience what a volcano was like for myself, but my guide was there the day that the volcano erupted for the first time. And so a lot of what he told me also went into the book. Well, I've always loved libraries. Before I started writing books, I grew up reading books, and I would get them at the library. So it was, when we moved to this community 6 years ago, it was natural that I would gravitate toward the library, and they've been so open and so receptive to me and to other writers that it was just the natural place for me to have my book launch. Judging from my experience, I have to say that I didn't have any particular training when it came to writing. I took creative writing classes in high school, and I always enjoyed reading, but I don't have any college education, and I didn't have any contacts in the industry. So the fact that I was able to write a novel that was bought by a major publisher, I think that indicates that anyone who has the drive and the talent can do that. The other thing I like to tell to people who are thinking about writing a novel is to be sure that you write the right story, because there are a lot of people that have talent and ability and who are writing, but if you want to be published at a major publisher, whatever story you tell has to stand out from the pack. So your writing, of course, will be good, your storytelling abilities will be good, but the story that you tell has to have what we like to call that wow factor, that when you give a short description of it, people's reaction is just, wow, I've got to read that book. So because it takes a year or more to write a novel, you want to put all that time and effort into one that has the best chance of success. I have a proposal for a third point book, as I call them, on my editor's desk, waiting to hear if she wants to go ahead with that one. And I'm also working on a science thriller trilogy for young adults that would be set in kind of a near future dystopian world. And I'm very excited about that. It's a lot of fun writing from a teenage point of view.
The Romeo Community Schools recently took a proactive approach to bullying by bringing in State Trooper Jamie Voss to speak to all the students in all the grades. The goal of this presentation is to eliminate bullying in Romeo Community Schools. We are currently running this special here on Channel 6, so make sure you check it out. And if your child is being bullied, here are some tips. Encourage your child to report bullying incidents to you. Let your child know that they have made the right choice by reporting the incidents to you, and assure your child that they are not to blame. Ask your child how they have tried to stop bullying. Coach your child in possible alternatives. Avoidance is often the best strategy. Like they can play a different place, play a different game, stay near a supervising adult when they think bullying might take place, and look for ways to find new friends. Support your child by encouraging them to extend invitation for friends to play at their house or to attend activities. Involve your child in social activities outside of school. Treat the school as your ally. Share your child's concerns and specific information about bullying incidents with the appropriate school personnel. Work with school staff to protect your child from possible retaliations. And establish a plan with your school and your child for dealing with future bullying incidents. Encourage your child to seek help or to report bullying incidents to someone they feel safe with at school, like an adult in charge of the specific activity, a teacher, a counselor, and even the principal. Use school personnel and other parents as resources in finding positive ways to encourage respectful behavior at school. Like you can volunteer your time to help supervisors on field trips or in the playground or even in the lunchroom, and become an advocate for school-wide bullying prevention programs and policies. And finally, and most importantly, encourage your child to continue to talk to you about bullying incidents. Do not ignore your child's reports. Do not advise your child to physically fight back. And do not confront the child who bullies. Do not confront the family or the child who bullies. If you can use these simple steps, we can help to eliminate bullying at Romeo Community Schools. Well, you know, it's hard to believe that the local Kezar Library opened 100 years ago. This free public library was dedicated through the generosity of Mrs. Nancy and Mary Kezar on February 6, 1911. People braved the snow just as they did 100 years ago and turned out to celebrate Kezar's birthday. The village winery even contributed a Kezar red wine to celebrate the occasion. Many area residents and politicians were on hand to commemorate the event and were treated to the sounds of classic winds.
I am delighted to wish the Kezar Library a happy 100th birthday. Libraries are so incredibly important to the community, and this one has been providing service for 100 years. That's very special.
Kezar Library is looking for your memories of the library, so please stop by and request a form and share your story with them. Well, the Cranbrook Institute of Science has an exhibit of locally famous Adams Road Mastadon bones at the Kezar Library. These artifacts are on display. They were collected from a site in Rochester. Here is Kezar branch librarian Stacy Narlock with more.
Currently on display at the Kezar Library, we have the Adams Road Mastadon, courtesy of Cranbrook Institute of Science. And we have various pieces of an adult mastodon and the jawbone of a juvenile mastodon, along with other information. So you should come down and check that out and see a piece of our history. And additionally, if you are a school group or a Boy Scout troop and you'd like to, or any group, you want to bring them down, and we can accommodate groups in the library to see the display.
The 9th annual Member Show was another huge success for the Starkweather Arts Center. Many turned out to view the amazing artwork and were entertained by great food and music by Dave Parks and Friends. Also being displayed through the month of February is an exhibit called A Show of Heart, featuring wooden hearts decorated by various artists.
And even though you might not be able to be here tonight, this show is going on through the month of February through the 25th. And since I'm saying February 25th, I'll say that that's our next open mic.